Hey everybody, here we go. This is Hank doing the 30-day comic book challenge. Today we're on day 26. We are almost at the end of this thing, and today it is a comic you wish would get a movie. Now I got a real specific pick for this one, and don't worry, because not to be a dick, but you haven't heard of it. There's this comic, it was called The Young Offenders. It was about a gang of 6 kids with very strange abilities. They were all orphaned. They were part of some sort of an experiment, and the government killed off all of their parents. The kids wound up becoming street kids. They sort of moved themselves into an impoverished ghetto, and then they started trying to fix the neighborhood from the inside. They did this so that they could sort of endear themselves to the community and thereby have the protection of the community, so the cops couldn't just come in and execute them, which is sort of what the cops wanted to do. And in a larger sense, the series was also about how there's this big corporation that was trying to buy a property in this impoverished neighborhood so that they could just kick everybody out of their homes and knock everything down and sort of show that it wasn't a safe place for people to live, but it was an actual neighborhood full of people. So these kids with these weird powers wound up having to protect. I called it a ghetto. Again, it's an impoverished neighborhood. Yeah. The leader of the team was Dot, who is the world's smartest human being. That is what her power was. There's a bunch of other ones. There was Bully, who was impervious to harm and had sort of a psychological disposition towards hurting people. There was Freddy, the fireproof freak. He's pretty obvious. One of my personal favorite characters, Spaz, who is just fast and cool and clever. I'm kind of being an asshole here. The whole point of this is The Young Offenders is a comic book that was written and drawn about Vancouver, where I live. I'm being disingenuous. The Young Offenders is a comic book I wrote a few years ago. Me and a friend of mine put it together. It was an online comic. It only had a few issues because my friend wasn't a comic book artist, he was a journalist, and he just wanted to work on a comic book for a little while, and then he kind of moved on, and I wound up with about 60 pages of my first comic book. I'm going to enclose a little link to it so you can click over to it and read it over at theyoungoffenderscomic.tumblr.com. Blah, 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 blah. Anyways, that is the comic I would most like to see get a movie, because it kind of implies that I would be fucking writing it. I would want it to be a animated movie, not live action. I don't believe you could do The Young Offenders live action because one of the main characters is a 10-year-old little girl who curses a lot. And there's a lot of really brutal violence where these kids are just fucking breaking people down. That's what it's all about. It's a very violent, socially responsible comic with an ethnically diverse cast, because those are the things that are important to me. So yeah, that's a little bit of a cheat. That's a little bit of a, hey, why don't you guys go and read my comic book? I feel a little bad pushing it because it's a dead series. I haven't worked on it in a really long time. I need a new artist to work on it, which is something I would like to do. And, again, if it got a movie, hopefully I would get some money and fame out of that, and I could use that to finance some more projects that I would like to work on. If you're following my media channels, you know that I am just full of lots of dumb ideas. The couple of novels I've written, the weird little shows I make, all that shit, man. I can't shut it off. I can't. Yeah. There's a lot of little voices in my head that want to be heard. Anyways, that is Hank. That is me. It's kind of weird talking in the third person right after I say I have voices inside my head. Yeah, 30-day comic book challenge. That's pretty cool, right? Everybody loves 30-day comic challenge. Thank you for listening. Please check out The Young Offenders. I'll talk to you tomorrow.